Assalamu alaikum students. I hope all of you will be fine. Today I am here with a new topic, that is the Government of India Act 1935. As you know, the Indian political parties were not satisfied with the previous reforms and they had rejected the India Act 1919, which is also called the Montfort reforms, because they were not given enough power and authority and they were unable to take any decision. They just got the advisory status. And the system of diarchy, which was introduced by the British at provincial level, was also greatly disliked and opposed by the Indian political parties. The Rowlatt Act and the Jallianwala Bagh massacre further added to the resentment and unrest. So all the attempts to solve the constitutional problems had been failed during 1927 to 1932. Simon Commission was rejected by all the political parties. And the Nehru report and 14 points of Jinnah were meant to give recommendations for future constitution of India, but both were not finalized. Despite the failure of the Round Table conferences, in March 1933, the British government announced its proposals for how India should be governed. These were published in a white paper. So what is a white paper? White paper is actually a discussion document issued before a bill is presented to the British Parliament. So after discussions by the British politicians and consultations with the safe Indian delegates nominated by the government to take part in the talks, a bill was introduced before the British Parliament in December 1934. A committee was formed under the Viceroy Lord Linlithgow for the making of the new constitution for India, and many Indian political representatives were included in the committee. They were the safe Indians. Safe Indians are those Indians which were in the favor of British policies, and they never refused whatever British decided. They accepted those policies. So in August 1935, the Government of India Act became law. This was the last major legislation that the British government passed before independence was granted. So the Government of India Act 1935 was the longest and the most complex constitution in the world. So let us discuss its important features one by one. Its main terms were: India was to be a federation, including both the provinces of British India and the princely states. It means there would be a federal kind of government in India with two houses of parliament at central government level, the upper house and the lower house. The upper house, which is also called the Council of State, was to have 156 members from British India and 104 from the princely states. The members from the British India were to be elected and those from the princely states were to be nominated. And all of you know the meaning of nominated and elected. We have discussed it previously. So the lower house, which is called Assembly, was to have 250 members from British India, elected by the provincial legislature, and 125 members from the princely states, which would be nominated. The system of diarchy was dropped at provincial level but introduced at central government level. So, like previous, minor or less important subjects were transferred to the provinces, and the subjects like defense, foreign affairs were under the control of the Governor General. The Governor General was also having the power to enforce emergency. So, at provincial level, diarchy was replaced with a system in which provinces were given a large degree of autonomy. The minister of provinces were, in effect, heads of the provincial administration, and provincial governors were instructed to act on their advice, except in the areas where they had special responsibilities. The number of provinces was increased to 11, and NWFP was given the status of a fully fledged province, and two new provinces were also created, Orissa and Sindh. It means Sindh was separated from Bombay. The act appeared to grant real power to the people of India, but in reality, things were little different. And if we talk about the powers of the Governor General, so the Governor General was the head of the Federation and could exert special powers in the reserved subjects. The Governor General and the governors of the provinces were given special powers. Autonomy was given to all the provinces. Separate electorate was maintained for the Muslims. The property qualification for voting meant that only 25% of India's population was allowed to vote in the provincial elections. So students, these are the main terms of the Government of India Act. So if we talk about the reaction of the Indian political parties, so the Government of India Act 1935 was strongly opposed both by the Congress and the Muslim League. The Congress leader Jawaharlal Nehru mentioned it as a charter of slavery and called it as a machine with powerful brakes but no engine. And Muhammad Ali Jinnah pronounced it as a defective and rotten document which was totally unacceptable. Actually, the main reason was that people in India demanded independence and self-rule, or at least dominion status, which was promised by the British at more than one occasion. In this act, some power was given to the Indian people by the way of provincial autonomy, and diarchy was removed from the provinces, but the British rule was continuing, and the viceroy and governors had full control on each and everything. The system of diarchy, which was not successful in provinces, was taken to the central government. The viceroy and the provincial governors enjoyed vast powers. They could appoint or dismiss a minister or cabinet and could dissolve the assembly as well. There was no protection for the minorities, and the rights of the Muslims was given no proper protection as well. Furthermore, the right of the vote was still discriminatory. Although the number of votes was increased, yet 30 million votes in a large population of 400 million was quite inadequate. So, on account of these reasons, the act was opposed by both political parties, but both agreed to take part in the following elections. The princes resented the loss of power it would entail. So the Government of India Act was opposed on all sides in India. Although it suited no one, the act was an important point in the move towards independence because it provided the basis for the negotiations which finally resulted in the British leaving India. Parliamentary systems had been set up in which the Indian people were to gain increasing representation. So the independence was moving nearer. So students, this is all about the Government of India Act and the reaction of the Indian political parties. It means the Government of India Act was also could not satisfy the Indians. So in your worksheet, the question is about why it was opposed and why Indians were not satisfied. So you have to write the answer accordingly by discussing its terms and features and why they were not satisfied with them. So write your answer properly and please don't copy from the book, write in your own words by using the lecture points and by using the explanation. Do it properly and submit your work in time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.